Please join me in the invocation. Our Father which art in heaven, we come before thee this night, once again as a board of elections and voter registration, to do the will of the people and the electors of Spalding County and thy will, O Father. And we pray to be guided by thy Holy Spirit in all that we do, and that all that we do would be for the benefit of the electors of Spalding County and in goodwill. In Jesus' name, amen.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, gentlemen. We have we had citizen comment, but nobody signed up, so we're gonna not read that part. Next up is adoption of the agenda. Do we have any additional agenda items? Okay, motion to
I
adopt the
move
agenda.
we adopt the agenda as written.
That's appropriate. Second, I think was Roy first, so, all in favor? 4-0, the agenda is adopted. Next up, we've got approval of minutes. If you will tab to the minutes section, we've got October 8th, October 15th through November 1st, November 1st, November 5th through November 12th, and the November 12th election certification meeting to review. All right, if everybody's satisfied, a motion to approve the minutes or, okay. Jim's moving to approve the minutes as presented. Roy second, all in favor? 4-0. Would she like to? Okay, well, we will, unless there's an objection, Representative Mathiak would like to share a few words with us.
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
I said, unless there's objection, Representative Mathiak showed up a few minutes late, didn't sign up to speak, and would like 3 minutes.
Happy to hear.
No objections? Okay. Step up to the mic here. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you.
We're at a good break, so
I didn't
It's
expect
gonna-
you
it's
to
gonna
do
be a
that.
short
Thank
meeting,
you so much. Sorry I'm late. We just finished up our biennial in Atlanta, or I almost said Atlanta, Athens today. I just wanted to take a little bit of legislative privilege to say thank you to Roy McLean and say goodbye to him because he's worked so hard on this committee, and I was the one that encouraged him to be a part of this well-meaning, hard-working committee, and I'm so proud of all that you've done for our community, Roy, and you are going to be missed. Thank you for the foundation that you laid for this committee, and I think it'll be well deserved as time goes on. So
Well, I
thank
just
you.
want to make sure that everybody understands it was your fault that I'm here.
And that's why I'm here, because I knew you were going to say that. Thank you for letting me have that privilege, Chairman Johnson and everybody. I appreciate all that you do and ran such a great election, and I'm very thankful that everybody works as hard as they do. Thanks.
thank you, Karen. All right, next up is election supervisor's report.
Good evening, board members. First, I'm going to share with you the voter registration update. Registered voters per the Secretary of State system Jarvis as of December the 10th, 2024 is 53,064 voters. Voter registration action from November the 19th through December the 10th. Just want to remind you, take a minute to remind you that preceding the November 5th, 2024 general election, there was an October 7th deadline for any new registrations, any transfers, or any changes made to current registration. So, with that said, the following, what I'm sharing with you, are numbers that came in from mail-in, walk-in, and election day. As you know, you do have people sometimes show up on election day that thought they were registered to vote, were not registered to vote, but they do. We allow them to fill out a form, or they may have changes to their information, and of course the law mandates that they go ahead and take care of that then and there. So that information alone transfers into Spalding County were 37. New voters for the first time were 29. Within county address changes were 177. Name changes were 25. No changes at all simply means there were no changes from their information that was in Jarvis at the time, were 65. We did go ahead, we have not been processing what is on the dashboard from the Department of Driver Services, and that what comes in through online voter registration, because due to the December 5th, I believe it was, runoff, that affected 12 counties. We were not, of course, one of those counties, but so we held back on the Jarvis processing, what is on our dashboard. With experience, it has shown us since the implementation of Jarvis that it is best to hold back when there is something transpiring at that time that is sensitive, and so then we begin processing. We'll pick up that processing on December the 16th. Vital records processed were 24, felon records processed 17, and we processed one potential duplicate. It was actually a duplicate. That is the title that the state calls it on the dashboard. We moved ahead with those processes because we knew that that was fine to do. We couldn't move voters from one county to the other. We just wanted to be really careful. Our office has been delayed in processing. I just shared that with you. I'm not going to say that again. Processing on the dashboard will include the following: 2,211 Department of Driver Services applications, online voter registration 719, and my voter page 276. So you see what we have, somewhat of a significant job ahead of us. Some of that will be no changes at all, but some will be changes, people moving in, people moving out, and address changes within. That concludes the voter registration update for the evening. November 5th, general election review. There is a copy for each board member of the official and complete election summary report there in your binder under general. If you remember when you all met to certify the election, you're given an unofficial and incomplete election summary report. It's when you vote to certify the election that I then go into the system and change it to official and complete summary report. So you have that there in your binder for view. And then if you have any questions, it's the exact same of what you certified, but if you have any questions, let me know. Advance voting absentee by mail along with election day voting operated efficiently with very little issues. What we did experience, updates and new voter registrations received late. I've spoken with you all about this before. From after that October the 7th deadline that we talked about, from the Secretary of State's office and the Department of Driver Services presented a few issues for us. We began to notice this on the first day of advance voting. It was not widespread, and we took actions. What basically happened is what was in Jarvis, we went ahead and processed those things immediately as soon as they were in our hands. But when it reached a certain point after the upload to the poll pads, it did not carry a few of those changes over to the poll pad. When we noticed this happening, we immediately trained our poll workers that if an issue came up, to come over, and that's the joy of having advanced voting right beside you. And they could check with us. We check the voter. If we indeed knew they were a registered voter, they were in a specific place, we were able to activate their ballot by using the activation codes that activate that voter's specific ballot, and the voter was able to vote. There were 108 poll workers trained and 105 served on election day, with a minimum of 22 poll workers serving during advance voting. So I just have to pause here to say our poll workers did an awesome job. Awesome job. Advance voting just ran so smoothly. We've heard nothing but praise for the advance voting, had no complaints on election day, and I just can't say enough. And as I always say, if you have the opportunity and you hear someone, they served as a poll worker, tell them thank you, because they are an extension of you and me and our staff, and we're very grateful for every one of them. An update on the November 5th, 2024 for election board mandated hand count and the RLA that's mandated by the state. The board mandated hand count of ballots cast in the November 5th, 2024 election. And remember, that was a pull out of the hat. And what was selected was the presidential contest along with the Clerk of Superior Court contest. It was successful, and it was in full balance to that of the results which were loaded on election night. The board mandated hand count cost the taxpayers of Spalding County $11,500 and took 6.5 days to complete. This time encompasses human error in returning to batch and returning to a batch and recounting. Each time a human error transpired, the batch was given to a different team, and all mistakes were always found. Staff and poll workers alike were committed and were diligent in completing a significant task.
Kim, how many people do we have, like, at any given time counting?
Counting, I believe it's a team of 18. I believe I'm right on that. 18.
Just want to estimate.
Right. Okay. The state mandated, and there's a special thank you there. Many of these committed poll workers had already been through 16 days of advanced voting, election day, set up prior to election day, election night, some of them returning results, and then they turned around and came in Wednesday morning to count contest. So just want to say we have some committed poll workers, and it was a huge task to undertake, but we did it, and we were successful. The state mandated risk limit audit was completed in half a day, and all results equaled that to the results which were loaded on election night as well. What I do want to speak to here that I did not, you have a copy of it in your binder.
This guy.
The state of Georgia, Secretary of State's office, posted the ballot image audit report. And as you know, that this is the first time that it's ever been done. We were working on it in the midst of counting ballots and wrapping up in an election. At the same time, it is post-certification. We had approximately 15 ballots that needed to be validated. And if you will take the time to look over at the images, I want to show you, bring to your attention what basically we saw. And it is on page 20. And 21 is more what I experienced. And there was one other page, 25. So if you see the lines going across there, you know, you have printers. We L&A all our voting equipment, but every now and then you have a printer that after so many prints, it starts smudging. So those came across our path to have to validate. But everyone we were capable, it was very easy to validate who that person had voted for. So just wanted to, if you have any questions on that at all, I'll be glad to answer, you know, as far as at my level, on the county level, what can be answered. But if you do want to take some time, it is a very interesting report to read. And it includes all counties of Georgia. Advanced voting and additional space update. Here, the newly acquired space proved to be more than advantageous. I've touched on this for a successful advanced voting period. There were 23,312 people who traveled through the doors of advanced voting and cast their vote early. And with a maximum of a 30-minute wait time only on the first and last day of advanced voting, to a one with a maximum of 1 to 5 minute wait time at all other times. This is an increase, the voting amount is an increase from the 2020 presidential election by 9,833 voters. So I'm very grateful to you all, to the Spalding County Board of Commissioners, because this is really close to what I had projected. I'd said from 5 to 8,000 because I figured that we would pick up the COVID absentee ballots that were cast in 2020, and that's exactly what I believe. And we picked up some extra there. It has been more than rewarding for the entire staff to hear and receive only praise for such a wonderful experience when casting their vote early in Spalding County. Dr. Ledbetter stated that we would begin looking at the acquired space and the redesigning thereof at the beginning of next year. And of course, I'll begin looking at that as well and looking at what our needs are and getting those down. But as you know, we inherited that 2 weeks prior to advanced voting, and I have to say kudos to a staff that is willing to work hard, because that is exactly what we did, everyone. And it's just awesome to see a team that comes together for the community. Website update. The county's newly designed website launched in early November. Guess what we were doing? We were ready for an election. It is a vast improvement from our former webpage. However, after an in-depth conversation with Antoinette with Hammond Marketing, there are concerns on my part as to timely postings on sensitive information and other updates which require county administrative approval as to what can and cannot be updated or changed by Hammond Marketing. I will have a full report in January and probably a proposal as well. I need a little more time. I just had that meeting with her today over the phone, and so I want to have a little time to take in that information, digest it, but there will more than likely be a proposal to you all to move forward on our own with the same company, but to where we have a little bit more control and are able to train a very capable staff member to be able to upload those things that we needed uploaded ASAP. Because I was notified, or in the conversation today, she shared that they need 24 to 48 hours.
That is not acceptable.
So if there is
Not
an
gonna work.
emergency or a special call meeting, that puts me out another day to two. So just something we can't afford to happen, and that's why you'll see that. But I want to be able to provide a formal proposal to you all at the next meeting. From on the note of 2020 ballot images, I know this has been a request for some time, and it appears that we can make it happen. I use the word appears because I believe it when I see it. But in speaking with Antoinette, it appears that this can happen. I've just got to work with her and submit those files and see what we can build out to have access to that. So that will be in the works probably next week. Board member appointments. The Republican Party submitted their appointees for the next 4 years, and they are Ben Johnson to continue serving and Chris Pilon to fill the seat currently held by board member Roy McLean. Chris Pilon is here with us this evening, and the Democratic Party submitted their appointee for the term now held by board member Jim O'Brien, and he is Lee Howell. I will follow up with each new appointee with a date and time for the taking of oaths with the Spalding County probate judge. So I will be in touch with each of one of you that will need to follow that process. Precinct 10 location. The relocation of Precinct 10 was a success with no complaints received at all by voters, at least on our end. I'm not sure at Precinct 10, but I was really just elated that there were no complaints at all, and I'm sure our poll workers were more than happy to serve within a noise-free climate control facility. So that was a great asset to Spalding County and a large improvement in serving our voters. So we're very pleased about that, and Oak Hill was awesome. Poll worker appreciation with board members, Christmas party. That is this Friday, December the 10th. You have that there in front of you. I sent an email to each one of you, and it's from 2 to 4. I would really like to see you there at least at 3, as we will acknowledge our precincts then. Did I say the wrong date? I said 10th.
All right, it's Friday the 10th.
It's the 13th. I don't know why I said the 10th, but it's the 13th. Okay.
Just wondered.
I'm refusing to think that it's Friday the 13th. That's what it is. But no, Friday the
What could go
13th,
wrong?
2 to 4. All right. Acknowledgement of service. And Lee Howell has joined us, and that is the name I mentioned for the Democratic appointment from in replace of Jim O'Brien. So glad to have you here with us, Lee. Okay, on a real light note, we would like to present Stephanie Wyndham with the award of keeping her binder cleared and neat for the year 2000.
Shame on you for making us look bad.
I'm sure the rest of us weren't even in the running for that.
On a more serious note, Jim O'Brien, I believe you came to us in 2022, and just want to say thank you on behalf of myself, the staff, the board, for your commitment to the Board of Elections and voter registration, your willingness to pitch in on election days when we've needed little errands ran here and there. We really do appreciate that. So, Jim, if you would come forward in just appreciation, Ben, if you would come forward so
Yes,
we can
absolutely.
give this to Jim. Yes, and someone should have a picture. So, Jim, in appreciation for your service to the Spalding County Board of Elections and voter registration, we just want to say thank you. Okay. You want to say a few words? Right here. Yes, sir.
Glenn Campbell once said, "No one to hold 'em, no one to fold 'em." I'm folding. I'm going to just share one brief insight that I've learned over these past 4 years. It's the community that drives the process for voting. The election board gets a lot of attention, and rightfully so, but then you have the office, you have Kim as the supervisor, you have the people in the office that work so hard, the poll manager, who's the other ones? Thank you. Right down to the poll observer. It's all the people together. It's the community that makes the election happen. That's my insight.
All right. Roy McLean. Roy, we want to say thank you for your service. We've had a few battles here and there, but they've been good, healthy battles.
Yes, we have.
And I think everyone would agree. But we do appreciate, Roy, you've actually been served all 4 years. And the Spalding County Board of Elections and voter registration appreciates that service. So thank you.
want a closer one?
No, I got it.
All right.
We appreciate you.
Thank you.
You want to say a few words?
Yeah, I'll just say a word or two.
Well, you need to come right here.
Not that I would ever be controversial. When I came on the board was December of 2020. It was right after we'd had a very contentious election. We had an office that was dysfunctional. We had distrust ran rampant. Didn't matter what political flavor you might think is the best, but things were just pretty bad. And so it took a lot of people with vision to sort of step in and lay a new course. And I think that course has gotten us to today. And while we still have our little concerns here and there, by and large, this is a working board. And I will tell you that what I inherited in 2020 was not a working board. Ceremonial, maybe, but there was no working to it. And so that has changed significantly. And I appreciate the differences that I share with my board members, and I share their comments and their concerns. And I appreciate the fact that they listen to mine as well. And we sort of hammer on a piece of metal and try to make it into something better. So going forward, I look for this board to even take the things that we've been able to accomplish and make it better. And so just expect that if I can't get what I need off a telephone call, I'll do an open records request. So nothing personal, but we've come a long, long, long way. And everything from when I first came here, we didn't say the prayer and the pledge, and we do today. And we have an attorney with us at every meeting, which is critical for us to do the best work that we can do. And Stephanie, I appreciate you more than you will ever know. We don't always agree. In fact, we normally don't agree.
I tell everybody that my favorite phrase from Roy McLean is, I know I'm not an attorney, but.
So I appreciate the back and forth and the give and take, and that's just who I am. And I hope you don't take offense to it, but whatever. Thank you for everything, and I appreciate all your support, and I appreciate your prayers, and I appreciate everything that we've gone through for the last 4 years to get us where we are today.
You have there that it states that this concludes my report, but not yet, because I just want to follow those two recognitions with election night. It was a late night, and there are things that you always, when you look back, you can say, yes, we did great. And then there are other things you can go, we can do better. I think we should always be able to do that. But the one thing I will always walk away from the November general election of 2024, at the end of the day, I thought, this has been the most peaceful election. People weren't angry. I'm not referring to any other time. I'm referring to this election only. But it has been an honor, and it has been a peaceful election. And we're a community. We work together. We should be able to have conversations, discuss things. And I think we are to that point. And for that, I'm very appreciative. My door is always open. And thank you to the board. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Thank you, Kim.
And one more thing. I'm sorry.
Phone to Steve
I've
Jobs.
got to say thank you to the staff. I know you know, I know all of you know, but I want everyone here to hear it, and everyone that has listened to this on streaming, through the streaming. The staff of elections of voter registration, along with others, not just who you see here tonight or that you may see on the website, but even our what we call seasonal employees, have done an awesome job. We have hours and hours and hours upon overtime, and that is commitment. Work ethic is good. Work ethic is hard to find this day and time. And I stand here to say, as head of the department, that we have an awesome team with just awesome work ethic, and I'm grateful to be a part of that. So thank you to each of you that are here and the ones may hear.
All right, I'm gonna wait about 30 seconds just in case. Okay, great. Well, it starts at the top, Kim, so thank you. All right, so, we've got no old business, no new business tonight, so, we can close with board member comments. Roy?
I just want to again thank the staff. You know, I was here with Kim till we walked out the door, and she locked it behind us election night, and it had been a long day, and to see the pep and the vigor that was still in everybody's step, y'all were awesome, and I've been around a lot of special groups of people, and y'all are right there with them when it comes to commitment. So thank you very much.
For me, I think one of the most touching days that I've ever spent on the election board was when I visited nine precincts and how warmly I was greeted, and how appreciated that they welcomed me as a member of the board as they worked. Very, very touching.
Well, what to say? Roy and Jim. You know, we all have our own opinion about what is the best thing for the voters of Spalding County. But one thing that we all do is try our best to get there, to get to what is best for the voters of Spalding County. We may disagree on some things, but I think we all agree on the important things. And I really appreciate you guys. You've been a pleasure to work with. I hope our new guys are as good to work with as these two guys were.
Thank you, James.
If you have never worked on a presidential election, you have never worked. If you think an IG inspection is tough, try a presidential election. And Kim, we have wonderful workers. Many of our office workers are here tonight, and I thank you very much for what you've done. Some of them aren't. And of course, I don't know if we have any of our poll workers here today, but they did a wonderful job too. But you can have the most wonderful staff in the world, but if there's not someone at the top to organize them, they will just run around in circles. And we don't run around in any circles. And Ben, I'm so glad that you're the chairman. And let's hope that that continues.
I guess we'll see you in January,
Yeah, I
right?
guess we'll see you in January.
Okay.
And I want to thank Stephanie too, because what would we do without her?
I'm not really sure.
Well, you know, it wouldn't be good,
We'd be in
don't you?
trouble a lot more.
Roy might be happier.
No.
Stephanie keeps us out of trouble. But thank you to everyone who worked on this election. They were very happy to see me at the polls too, because I brought them lunch.
All right. Yeah, Roy, I mean, the expression, leaving it better than you found it. Thank you. You always do that. You've been, I don't know, absolutely, great to work with and have become a great friend over the past 4 or 5 years. So very much appreciate it. And, Jim, have enjoyed working a couple times at the food pantry with you. Maybe we'll bump into you again up there for sure. But, you know, as James said, we haven't always agreed. A lot of times, most of the time, probably we haven't. But, you know, you've always argued in good faith. And, you know, I believe great intentions. And I think you're a fine human being. I really have appreciated serving with you. So, and everybody else, I love all y'all too. I'll see everybody hopefully at the Christmas party on Friday. I'm actually gonna bake. So, yeah, so it's kind of unusual. It's gonna be something to show up for. My sausage balls. So, we'll see how that works out. But, with that, motion to adjourn would be in order.
Second.
Roy and James, all in favor? All right, 4:06:36, we stand adjourned. Is that a record?
No.
Oh, but it's good.
James did.
Oh, he just got it.
I did one in 30 minutes once.